Good morning, everyone. We're just now top of the hour, 10 o'clock. My name is John Clifford, and I've been responsible for organizing and facilitating this morning's session. We're just going to give it another couple of minutes for anyone who may be running a little bit behind. So if I could ask you just to be a little bit more patient, just for another couple of minutes, and we'll get things underway. Just checking, Ulrika, you can see my screen and you can hear me and we're all good?
Yeah, all good, except it's not full screen yet, if you want to do that.
Oh, that's strange. How about now?
I still see the notes and everything. Maybe it's because you have two screens. I mean, it's fine. It's just...
Do you want to share it? You might have a better...
Sure.
Yeah, if you wouldn't mind. So again, just before we get things underway, thank you to everyone who's joined us this morning. It's great to see so many people on the call, so many different customers from so many different market units. As I said, for those of you who may have missed, my name is John Clifford. I've been responsible, I suppose, for organizing and facilitating this morning's session. Delighted to be joined. Sorry, I can't see the slides. Delighted to be joined. They're coming. Delighted to be joined by two of my colleagues and a very, very special guest speaker, Martha. Martha is working for Salon Group based in Poland and working for one of our favorite customers, Salon Group. She's going to talk a little bit about her experience, I suppose, firstly, I think about Gaudi, but also she's going to talk a little bit about her experience, I suppose, with ServiceNow and the benefits in that. Just before we get into that, I'm just going to do a little bit of housekeeping for everyone. Typically, we record these sessions. This morning's session will be recorded, and I'm happy to share the recording with all of you who attend this morning, or for any of those who would like to share the recording with one of their colleagues, that's absolutely fine too. We try to make the sessions as, I suppose, as engaging and as interactive as possible. So we do encourage you to ask any questions that you may have during the course of the session. You'll notice on the panel there is a Q&A icon. So please feel free to submit your questions through the portal, and we will facilitate a Q&A session at the end of this morning's session. So as I said, great to be joined by two of my colleagues and Martha. Just going to talk a little bit about Gaudi, and then I'm going to hand it over to Ulrich.
Jen, do you see the full screen, or do you see the notes as well?
Still the notes.
All right.
There
you go. Just into full mode. So
yeah, the problem is when I enter full mode, it goes to the other screen. But this will have to do.
Yeah,
that's fine. So who are Gaudi? I know a lot of you are familiar with us, but basically, I suppose Gaudi are an SAP Go partner. We're in the SAP system now, our ecosystem, for just over 25 years. We celebrated our 25th anniversary this year. We're still owned and managed by our original founder, a gentleman called Søren Koppelhaus. We're an employee-owned organization. And I suppose if I was to go back, I mean, primarily we started off life as a HR SAP consultancy company. I suppose transitioned into Hybris, and I suppose what's relevant today, I suppose, would be SAP SuccessFactors. We have a very, very strong Nordic and Scandinavian heritage, headquartered in Copenhagen. But I think it's fair to say over the last 20 years, we've grown quite aggressively in the sense today we sit in 11 countries. We have 15 different offices. And we really do have, I suppose, a very, very global footprint. With just over 280 employees. 250 of those would be consultants. Again, as you can imagine, over the past 25 years, we've worked with, I think, customers probably in every industry, every different kind of sector. And I suppose today we've got over 600 customers. Our focus has primarily always been on HR, and I suppose that has started to change a little bit over the past couple of years. And again, fair to say a lot of this has been driven by customer demand. And today, what we try to offer our customers really is what we would describe as total workforce management solutions. So we also have a wide range of services and partnerships with organizations that we feel complement SAP SuccessFactors and our HR offering. And two of those will go into in depth today, one of them being ServiceNow, who we're a strategic partner with, and the other one is PXMsoft. PXMsoft is basically the innovative arm of Gaudi. It's something that we developed probably 2 years ago, in the sense that, like our customers, we also saw that there was a gap in SuccessFactors in the sense that it didn't address everything, whether that was around document management or around org charting, around, I suppose, skills management and so forth. And I suppose on the back of that, we invested quite heavily into what we call now today PXMsoft. And basically, I suppose the idea behind the Innovative Solve is that we can offer our customers commercially good, competitively priced solutions that will, I suppose, not only enable but enhance your SAP SuccessFactors solution, whether that's around org chart and modeling, whether that's around document management, or whether that be around, as I said, certify and comply and skills management and so forth. So just not to dwell on that too much, as you can see, we've listed some of our customers below. But again, just to reiterate, we work with customers of all size and all different market units right across MENA. So what do? We're primarily, I suppose, a solutions and integrations provider. We offer on-premise, hybrid, and cloud solutions. We also have a very, very strong support offering called Application Value. Primarily, I suppose, as an SAP Gold partner, we also offer licenses, maintenance, subscriptions, and do position ourselves really as the go-to expert. As you can imagine, with over 25 years in the HR space, we've learned quite a lot. So that's just a quick overview of who we are and what we do. I don't think you're here to listen to me talking, so I'm going to hand it over to my colleague Ulrich, and Ulrich is head of our ServiceNow practice. Morning, Ulrich, over to you, sir.
Thanks, John. So yes, that was the perfect introduction. That what we do, what we bring to the table is that we combine knowledge of the different solutions that you all use in your organizations, so that you get the full benefit. The slide you see in front of you right now, where we say combine SuccessFactors and ServiceNow to get the full value, that's really our secret sauce. That's the thing we do that most organizations are just trying to get their hands around, especially as ServiceNow is getting increasingly used in the HR space. So what we'll zoom in on today is one of the ways that we create connected solutions across your process landscape, technology landscape, to provide employee experience that is consistent, that meets people where they are, gives them a modern, user-friendly experience, which can be a challenge in some of the older HR solutions, and at the same time that we help orchestrate, digitalize, automize the different workflows so that people can focus on where they add value, where they have to think, instead of where they just need to do manual processing of information. So we'll see some examples of that today. And we are, from some perspective, only scraping the surface. There's very, very rich opportunities to deliver better business value from an HR perspective by combining ServiceNow SuccessFactors and, as we'll see, our PXMSoft solutions. And that's what Jacob will say a couple of words about. What exactly is PXMSoft and how does it supplement?
Exactly. I'll just try to put a bit of context to our, as John mentioned, our development arm within Gaudi. So what we sat down to do was to take a good look at what are the processes supported within SuccessFactors and the supporting solutions to SuccessFactors, and that led us to basically settle on a somewhat growing portfolio of different applications that can be just plugged on top of SuccessFactors, and as we'll see today, also just integrate with other products like for instance ServiceNow. We have 6 products in line. 2 are quite new to the portfolio. We have a frontline recruiting solution that allows managers in stores and on shop floors to do a bulk and quite rapid recruiting process with a subsequent contract. So in a matter of, if not seconds, then minutes, the full process can actually be executed by a frontline manager. We have document management, which is the underlying engine of what we will be looking at today. It's a very comprehensive document management tool that allows customers to both create documents in a dynamic and automated way, but obviously also archive and store them in an equally controlled manner. And then I lost the overview, and what I was about to say was, if Ulrik can.
Oh, sorry. Yeah. It has some minds of its own today. There we go.
Yeah. Then one of the new products in line, which we will be releasing to the market quite soon, is a product that we call Time Tracking Plus. It is essentially a lightweight shift schedule planning tool to supplement the time tracking within SuccessFactors and the time registration capabilities within SuccessFactors. This is a very sort of sought after tool because there are obviously really big players out there, but they also come with a quite hefty price tag. So Time Tracking Plus, or Shift Scheduling Lite, or whatever we want to call it, is a tool that we will be going to market with quite soon. Certify and Comply, as John mentioned, is our skills tool that allows organizations with a really large number of skills, competencies, and certifications to manage and grow and grow those within the organization. Primarily used for blue collar and production organizations, where audits and license to operate the organization is quite key to them. So that's the Certify and Comply. Survey and Insights is also a tool that we'll quite soon go to market with, essentially a survey tool embedded within SuccessFactors. So it is what it says. It's a survey tool that can embed into the different processes of SuccessFactors. And then our org chart and modeling, which is a tool that allows you to model your organization based on the data in SuccessFactors, model your organization of the future. So by dragging and dropping your structures into a different configuration, you can actually make sure that your organization of tomorrow is also being catered for in SuccessFactors. And this is relevant for mergers and acquisitions. It's relevant for day-to-day operations, and it's a tool that has seen a significant interest in across our customers. So if any of these are of interest to you, then please reach out today. It's document management that will be in focus. That was my 2 minutes of speed talking.
Right. So what do you get out of all of this? You'll have a look at the actual solution and hear about some practical experiences. But before that, on a really high level, I'm just trying to summarize. So what is it organizations get out of this? Why do they combine the solutions? There's 4 high level value categories. The first one is just giving people what they want, so they can be productive and focus on their work and get the help they need when they need it. And by putting ServiceNow as an engagement layer with self-service help and the right information at the right time at your channel of choice, so your phone, your computer, the chat in Teams, huge value to the organization that they can immediately get help, and sometimes even fully automated help. And we'll see some examples of that. The other one is helping your HR team. You're probably overwhelmed right now. So much demand and not always the right tools to help you. So putting ServiceNow together with the PXM soft solution and ServiceNow gives your HR operations the structure, the support, the automation capabilities they need. So employee experience, productivity, efficiency, and also being able to document that you're managing all of this in a secure way. I mean, often it's real people, so real data, sensitive data we are working with. So having an integrated solution where everything is following the right channels and in a secure, well-documented manner, extremely important. Related to that, of course, having it all automated or at least digitalized gives you an overview. So you can forecast capacity demands, you can explain to the business that if there are bottlenecks, they may be on the business side and not on the HR side, and you can actually do something about it. Similarly, you can properly forecast and you can say, where do we have the satisfaction issues and what do we do about it? So having ServiceNow in place really helps you understand your HR demand and discuss with the business, how do we improve it? And then the last point we have is ServiceNow is a lot easier to dance with than PXM Soft. It's also a lot easier to dance with than some of the other solutions you may know. So from you have a requirement like COVID is coming, how do we deal with it? We are doing a merger, how do we deal with it? To you actually have implemented new functionality in production, it can be a question of 15 minutes or a couple of days if it's complex requirements. We're not talking about a lead time of multiple weeks or even months from us seeing a requirement to us being able to have a solution in place in our production. So that's on a really high level, the value of the solution. Now we're going to have a look at some practical examples. So we have 3 use cases we're going to go through. Each of them has a specific focus. First one is the ability to go in with self-service and have documents created. So we will go to our ServiceNow environment. Some of you may have seen this before. If you haven't, what we're looking at right now is the EC Pro solution. So it is something you will get even without the HR module, but certain elements we're going to be looking at will require the HR module. You don't need the HR module to use the solution in general. It's coming just with platform and ITSM capabilities. So we have here a manager called Monica. And one of her guys is moving into a new role, sales role, and that means he needs to sign an addendum to his contract. So Monica goes to her preferred way of engaging with the portal and gets help. That could be chat in Teams, it could be her mobile phone, it could be the portal, it could be wherever she feels comfortable engaging. We can see that the AI functionality in here actually goes across all the different information sources and puts together a nice, concise reply across data sources. We can deep dive on that at some other point if you're interested, but we also have the knowledge article that we wrote explaining what is the policy, how do you go about it, and we're taken straight to the place where we can request to have the contract generated. In this case, Monica's employee Kim is the guy who is moving into a new position. We could specify a date, we could specify a language, we could put all kinds of information in here. In this case, we just say we go with what we have. And now what we will see, if I'm lucky, is that Kim will receive an email asking him to go and sign a document. I'm just waiting for it to show up in my mailbox. There we go. So Kim has now received an email. Please sign the addendum. If he clicks the link, he will get taken to a place where we have our digital signatures. Jakob can tell more about exactly which ones we support, but it is one of the places where we can actually do something in PXMsoft that you will not be able to do with the standard document management solution in ServiceNow if you're already using that one. In this case, we are Kim, so we just write Kim and we send it off. Now we go to the next step. In the signature process, in this case here, it will go to Monica. Once Monica has signed, the document will end up in our document repository, so everyone can find it afterwards, and we have clear paper trail, digital signatures, and a secure place for the document. I'm not going to take you through all the signature steps. We want to focus on the next use case as well. But before we go there, Jakob, anything to add to the first one here?
Yes, and thanks, Ulrik. Yeah, so what there is to add, and obviously this cannot be seen because it is embedded within the ServiceNow integration, is that the full process of creating of extracting and creating the document in ServiceNow and the subsequent flow is fully handled by PXMsoft. So basically, Ulrik just shoots off a request, and all this request then, as some of you might already be familiar with document types and so on, will simply pick up that document type and then take it through the specific workflow that's been designed in PXMsoft. But all of this happens beneath the hood, so no one really needs to see anything other than the process from ServiceNow. And there's no limitations as such in terms of the document types that you can enable or the different flows. It could still be a flow with an approval either in ServiceNow, as Ulrik will also show, or in PXMsoft, and then the signatures will simply be added on top. And there are, again, we are agnostic from PXMsoft perspective in terms of signature providers. So is it Adobe Sign, is it DocuSign, is it Scribe, is it other tools that you're using? That's completely up to you in this regards. So I think that's more or less sums it up.
Cool. And I can just the use cases we take you through here. I mean, they're not made up. They are real use cases out in the real world, and we have clients who do this manually. The managers need to tell the payroll or the HR team that we need a contract. They're manually generating it with tons of opportunities for errors to go in, and then they are signed and semi-manually collected afterwards. So when we compare the before and after, you put automation and digitalization in here. It's on all the parameters we looked at before, everyone will win. The next use case we have is a very, very simple one. And the reason it's very simple is because that's what we want to achieve. By putting these solutions together, we can massively simplify life for HR, for payroll, and for our employees. In our organization here, our fictive organization, we say if you volunteer in certain types of volunteering activities, you will get paid leave. Only thing you have to do is provide the evidence. And that means we can, by allowing the employee to attach a receipt or similar, go in and fully automate the leave process, including registering leave and success factors through our integration. So no one has to do anything except our employee going to ServiceNow and register. So now we are no longer Monica, the manager, we are actually Kim. Kim chooses, just as Monica, where does he want to go to get help? Goes to the portal, he searches for Can I volunteer with paid leave? AI is trying to help, but we know which one we want. In this case here, we need to say, who is it for? It's for ourselves. When did we do it? We did it last Wednesday, and we did, did the clean the beach activity. Then I need to enclose my attachment. Otherwise, we're not sure if people are just taking the time off. In this case, we have a nice prepared receipt. That's a sensitive document. It could have private information, it could have addresses, it could have credit card information, all kinds of stuff you don't necessarily want lying around in ServiceNow. And therefore, we are very happy that we can send it straight to our archive, and we can remove it on the ServiceNow side. And that's, of course, one of the main things that you will benefit from being able to do here, that by putting everything in a centralized archive, you can also avoid needing to use storage space and even avoid potential security issues by having these kinds of attachments on the ServiceNow side. If you immediately, or when you no longer need them, remove them from ServiceNow, you're making your documentation of compliance much, much easier. So what you see here is, of course, the SuccessFactors view. Now I am also Kim in our SuccessFactors view. And those of you who have the PXMsoft document management in place already know that there's many ways to navigate around. Jakob knows more about that than I do. But one of the ways is just going into the archive. And what we'll see in a second, hopefully, is that our attachment is found over here. Our leave documentation, and indeed, our nice picture of a clean beach. So Jakob, anything on the archive?
Yeah, no, it's almost a copy of what I said before. Again, this is obviously a use case, and you will have use cases relevant for you. The main thing here is that we automate the actual archiving, and then we utilize the PXMsoft archiving as a central point. So you might have documents coming from ServiceNow, you might have documents coming from your SuccessFactors and other places, and with a central HR archive where things and documents will flow together, you exactly as Ulrik said, you'll get this consistent, governed control, ensuring that retention rules, etc., is in place. And the common approach is that the storage for the archive is actually owned by you. So the customers typically owns the storage, so that would be Microsoft Azure, AWS, or whatever. So the documents are fully in your control and fully governed by you. And in this scenario, a simple use case where we simply archive, there's no signatures, there's anything that's just an archiving process. Again, a use case where you need to sort of put that into the context of your reality.
Perfect. We have one use case left before we have Marta tell us about how they are using it. So what's new about this use case here? Well, the main thing that's different here is now we really show the value of using the solutions together. Kim, after many years of faithful service, have decided to retire. He submits his retirement request. The manager says, yeah, we probably need to let him go. And the HR team sends off a letter of recommendation. One of the main benefits of that is that we know HR organizations often get stormed by employees a few months after they left. and now maybe you don't have the data anymore, and it's much more troublesome to deal with it. So automatically creating a document when you still remember, have the data, making it available to the employee and making it available on an alumni portal will make everyone a lot happier. What you'll see in a second is also that we actually do trigger our termination on the SuccessFactors side as well. So this one is fully automated. No one has to do anything on the SuccessFactors side. So we are Kim. And we go, as always, into our engagement layer in whichever way we want. Maybe on a phone. We say, how do I retire? Because I am ready for that. We see our AI being smart and giving us a summarized view across our different information sources. We find a knowledge article that helps us. Inside that one, we can see, well, you need to start well in advance, and at some point, yes, you need to submit a request. We take now a very simple one. For those one of you who have the full-blown ServiceNow HR solution, of course, you know that the orchestration of all the facility and IT and HR activities related to an offboarding, that's part of the main value. We're not going into that here. That would be a separate session. Now we only look at the stuff that's related to the documents. In this case here, we say, I'd like to leave by end of September. I would like so he does give an opening that he might actually be able to stay on a little longer if he could work remotely. You will see it looks a little different than before. It's because this time we are using the HR solution, we are using a lifecycle process, and we have a full orchestration of different activities that take place as part of this termination and offboarding. So Kim has now done what he needs to do. He said, I want to leave. Monica needs to take a look because it's nice for the manager to first say, are we going to let them escape, or do we want to see if we can find a compromise to have them stay on a little longer? In this particular case, Monica has a look. She says, yeah, well, we can't do it from Spain. I wish we could, but with the activities you're working on, it just doesn't make sense. She orientates herself about her responsibilities as a manager of a leaving employee. She says, well, let's send them out as happy ambassadors. And she acknowledges she has read this. And now the final step, the one that's really related to the document management, is that we go in as the HR agent, as it's called in ServiceNow terminology. So the HR staff dealing with people leaving our organization. Harry Taylor here goes in. Now, for those of you who are very familiar with ServiceNow, you will say, why is he not working in the workspace? He could very easily have been working in the workspace. But for simplicity, for the people who are not very used to ServiceNow, we choose to do everything from out here. So we just basically go in and say, for HR, the only thing we have to do is create a nice letter. Kim did great work. And we push it off. Now, what we will see if we go to the SuccessFactors side, if I'm allowed. So first of all, now I don't want to be Kim anymore. I want to be myself first as an admin because I want to validate that we actually did initiate a termination in SuccessFactors for Kim. So I'm on myself. I have a look at Kim. So we have our employment details, we have a position, and we have our job information. And if I go in and have a look at my job information here, I can see I have a retirement done by our API, done today, and it's a termination, it's a retirement. Now I delete it, so I can actually reuse Kim again, but of course, normally you would let it go its way. And then the last thing we want to do is we want to once again have a look as Kim and say, did we receive this nice letter of recommendation? Okay, let's see if this will work. Proof of employment. And yes. So what you see here, and this is one of the things that our solution can do that I am not sure any other solution can do. We are right now creating a document fully automatically from ServiceNow that combines data maintained in SuccessFactors and in ServiceNow, putting it in a centralized archive. That's nice. It makes it so much easier for you to combine data sources and maintain your document templates and orchestrate your document workflows. So Jakob, any final comments on this one?
No, not other than I think the challenge is for you to put on the creative hat and see how these scenarios, because essentially there is or there are no real limitations. As Ulrik has shown, we can both use the workflows in the process, we can archive in the process, it's fairly simple, and then we can also merge data together. And the scenarios, the use cases here is obviously just our input to it, but there will be, as mentioned previously, tons of examples at your end where this would tap right into, and with good help from Ulrik and from PXM, we can basically make everything flow so that your point of contact is ServiceNow for the majority of the more simple HR processes that's going on.
So that was the perfect segue actually to Marta and the use case here, because what you'll see is that even the most organizationally specific use cases are easy to hit with this solution. That's the point of it, that we can build pretty much anything you can think of. So this is not a standard solution that forces you to do things in a certain way. These are Lego blocks that help you build functionality fitting exactly the requirements you have. So Marta, tell us about you and Selling Group.
Yeah, hello to everyone. My name is Marta Krawczyk, and I'm HR and Payroll Manager in Shared Service Center for Selling Group. Currently responsible for delivering payroll services for more than 9,000 people in Polish part of organization. But not only that, also introducing improvements and developments among Polish organization, and recently cooperated with Ulrik on introduction of ServiceNow platform for Polish part of. For those of you who not associate Selling Group, this is the largest Danish retail company set up nearly 70 years ago. Currently, we are cooperating in 3 countries with various brands, and one of the brands, Discount Netto, is present also in Germany and Poland. Our mission is to improve everyday life, and it not only refers to the customers, of course, they are the most important, but also it refers to employees. So we try to develop our processes and daily work to deliver best services to our customers at the end. And that is why we have decided to implement a new ServiceNow platform for HR processes in Polish organization last year. It was based on the good experience of our Danish colleagues. The challenging fact of introduction of ServiceNow platform was that Poland is still a very demanding country regarding labor law when it comes to the document signatures. So in a lot of documents, we still demand the physical signature. But after the legal assessments we have gone through, it occurred that in some cases, in some processes, the HR administration can be digitalized. So we have decided to, wherever it is possible, to resign from paper forms using ServiceNow platform, request and PXM soft to maintain daily operation tasks. So if we can go to the next slide, Ulrich.
Yeah, I am just trying to get my mouse to work. There we go.
Yeah, so we used ServiceNow and PXM Soft to fulfill legal requirements for managing personal information. So we started the process before assumed the physical workflow of documents. So it means that the employee willing, for example, to change his bank account, he should print out the paper form, fill it out, sign it, and send it in physical way by post or by courier to payroll department. Of course, to speed up the process, we used to scan the documents and send it by mail, but still the physical document needed to land in personal files. So the archive, the physical archive, we should have it in Poland. Currently, the employee only submits the request on ServiceNow platform. Payroll team receives a request and is ready to maintain the action in the systems. So with archiving page that was created for us, that is set in ServiceNow, we are able to print out the request in very clear form with the unique SAP number of employee who registers the requests. So that the physical signature is not needed anymore. We see that it's a unique SAP number. Only the employee can register the request, so that we do not need the original paper and the original signature in many cases. So we can physically archive the printout of ready archive page. So the benefits that we see of the solution, of course, it is easier for employee. We will very much reduce time to proceed. Of course, when you need to print something out, fill the form, send it out, then the payroll team waits for it to come, and comparing to that, you have couple of clicks in the system and couple of clicks on the other side by payroll team. It is way easier. It also reduces the risk of error. You cannot put the wrong bank account number because the request has some validations built in it. So that it is also helpful to the user on the other side. We avoid the risk of not receiving the physical documentation because we print it out and we can open the request anytime and print it out. So we reduce the risk of not receiving it. The process is really faster, so it increased efficiency of the team. This is, of course, secure and compliant. And what is also important from my perspective as a manager, the workload of payroll team is like more measurable. So we have the requests, we see how many requests each payroll specialist is working on, and the work is way more measurable from our perspective. Yes. if you would like, Ulrika, to add something, you are free to go.
So perfect. That was great. There is actually one thing I would add, which is that we make the solution so easy to maintain, and we very carefully do knowledge transfer during our projects. So you guys are completely self-sufficient right now, meaning that when you need to go in and tweak something, add labels, even create new documents, you don't need anyone except your own team to do it. And that's part of what we want to achieve with this. We want to create an infrastructure that you can easily expand yourself. And I think even in in half a year, so the internal team should be able to do almost everything. Maybe there's a couple of things you'd ask us about, but everyday maintenance of the solution, you don't need external specialists to deal with it. The intention of it is that you can take it over and you can run it as part of your agile internal infrastructure.
I can confirm it. Yesterday, I have cooperated with my team to change the one of the requests that was the changes to address archive form. So it is easy. Yeah.
Perfect. Cool. All right. So we have a couple of summarizing comments before we do the Q&A. And John, do you want to do it, or do you just want me to continue?
I think I would be doing you a disservice, Ulrich. So I'll let you wrap up the key takeaways. We do have quite a few questions, so quick summary would be great. Thank you.
The first point here, of course, is if you already have PXMsoft in place and you have ServiceNow, ITSM, HRSD, whatever platform features you're using, consider integrating it. There's an almost unlimited number of use cases, and it's a very, very quick thing to set up. It's a question of a few weeks, and then you can do all the stuff we just looked at. If you're considering investing in either of the solutions, factor in this kind of benefit, both the productivity, the efficiency, the security, the scalability, your ability to grow and adjust according to business demands. It gives you a lot of opportunity to deliver value to the business. Whenever you are designing new things, make sure you think end to end. Your employee experience and your workflow should go across your solutions. We saw how we just removed work in SuccessFactors by using an out-of-the-box standard integration that takes a few days to set up. And as Jakob also mentioned, this is the integration we have is a very, very simple foundation. But once you have that in place, you can build anything you can think of. Well, at least we haven't found anything that we couldn't build yet. So those would be the closing remarks before. Sorry, Jakob, you're about to say something.
Yeah, maybe just rounding it off, and that is exactly it's both a baseline foundation that we can do everything on, but it's also a growing baseline foundation. So our roadmap, as we own the IP on PXM, is also growing. So right now we will. In a couple of releases be introducing an integration going the other way, where you can actually create a ServiceNow ticket from PXMsoft. So should your employees have a pay slip that they don't understand, instead of having to go anywhere else, there'll be the ability to create a ticket directly from PXM with all the metadata, all the information being simply merged into that ticket. So this is also a growing integration and a growing commitment from our side to actually expand on this.
Perfect. So that means that we are right on time with 10 minutes for questions.
Thank you, Ulrich. Great session. Very, very insightful. Some really, really nice feedback already. So thank you. Thank you to Ulrich, Martha, and Jacob, but especially Martha for taking the time out this morning from her daily activities at Salon Group. And I'm just going to get straight into the questions. I'm going to direct them as best as I can. So please excuse me, but I think I'm confident in saying this one is for you, Jakob. We looked at signature providers just a bit earlier. What signatures providers do you support from a PXMsoft perspective?
Essentially, we support all signature providers out there. All it requires is a fairly mature API on the provider side, which so far we haven't met anyone where we wouldn't be able to integrate. Typically, we would see DocuSign and Adobe Sign, and then we have a partnership with a signature provider called Scrive. That is quite known in the Nordics, but essentially all.
Great, thank you. I'm not sure if this is a trick question or not, but I'm going to send it to Ulrich. Ulrich, why not use ServiceNow document management?
Yeah, it's a good question. And first of all, it's not so that this excludes you using EDM. You can use both, and you can maybe find use cases where it makes total sense to do it. The main differences is one, by using PXMsoft, you can include information that's stored on SuccessFactors. Otherwise, you would need to build integrations, and it would probably be data you actually don't want to send to ServiceNow, and it would definitely be a lot more messy and time-consuming to maintain. So it gives you an ability to create documents with information that you can't really create directly in ServiceNow. Then once we get more into the nitty-gritty details, then if you have an extremely large repository of complex documents, including local variations, and you have to maintain the templates for that, you need to do an apple-to-apple comparison and say, do you like EDM best, or do you like PXMsoft best, or do you maybe like one solution for one type of documents and another for another type? If you're doing that kind of consideration right now, I mean, reach out and we can help you do the nitty-gritty detailed comparison. And you may end up using both, or you may find that one is a better fit than the other. It really depends on your specific requirements.
Thank you, Ulrich. Great answer. Really good question actually from Jonas. And please feel free to submit your questions if you have any. I'm just mindful of the time. I think I know the answer to this one, but again, I'm going to pass this one over to Jakob. And this is very much around access. Who has access to the documents? I think I'm confident in saying it's based on role-based permissions, Jakob, but maybe you could elaborate on that.
Yeah, in the archive that Ulrich showed, where the documents will flow once they've gone through the process, the access is controlled by what's known as role-based permissions in SuccessFactors. So that controls, let's say, the significant part of the employees that you are able to see, and then on top, as a extra measurement of security, we've added access controls in PXM that then controls exactly which documents and which categories, as we call them, are you then allowed to see with a given role. So the role concept is quite granular and it basically supports to the same level of details that you would know from role-based permissions, and is based on role-based permissions for your target groups. Yeah.
And of course, we use standard functionality on the ServiceNow side to limit who can see what, same as with any other attachments. The main thing here is that in addition to that, we can actually put deletion functionality because you have the documents in your central archive. So you add a further layer of security by setting up functionality on the ServiceNow side that removes the attachments when you no longer need them. And you can even do that for documents that are not created in the document management solution. You could use it for any kind of attachments that you get into ServiceNow.
Right. Just mindful of the time. Ulrich, another good question. And I think in fairness, Martha covered off quite a lot of this just around maintenance, and in the sense of how much time is required to maintain this internally.
Yeah, I mean, how long does it take to set up a new document? I mean, your document management guys, I mean, from she receives a request until she set it up, it typically takes like an hour or something. So it really doesn't take long to do it. And similarly, once you have your infrastructure in place, adding a new request type or something, I mean, it's a question of a couple of hours, right?
Great. I know that this is for Jacob, actually, and this is a question from Elliot. Thanks for the question, Elliot. PXMsoft, where do we learn more about it?
Yeah, that's a good question indeed. We have a website called pxmsoft.com. We have our products on the SAP store as well, and if that doesn't cut it, then you know where to find us. So please do reach out to John, to me, to like or anyone else in Gaudi, that if you need and want to learn more. But the website is a good place to start.
Great. I am mindful of the time. I know there's a couple of outstanding questions. Please note that we will follow up with everyone who's attended the call this morning. We will share the slides. We were happy to share the recording.
And just picking up on your question, Gordon, I'll be reaching out, Ulrik and I will be reaching out on your question just to let you know the change impact for ServiceNow with the PXM integration. But we'll definitely follow up on that.
Thanks, Gordon. Thank you. Just again to reiterate, from my side, it's been an absolute pleasure working with Jakob and Ulrik. As you can see, they're both experts in their field. The bonus for me was having Martha on the call. It's very, very important, I think, to hear from the customer. Warts and all, as we say, but I think Martha's given a very honest and credible overview of how they're using the solution in Salon Group. So I think Jakob and Ulrik will join me in thanking her for her participation. Just to be also mindful of the fact that this is a series that we run. We are doing another webinar in a couple of weeks. That's more specific, or more SAP SuccessFactors specific. That'll be around opportunity and marketplace. But on that note, on the last minute, I'm going to hand it back to Ulrik. In fairness, he's the one who's led this, and he's the one who's probably looking forward to a cup of coffee after this, just for the final words, if that's all right. Ulrik, over to you, please.
It has never been more fun to work with HR technology than it is right now. I hope you're enjoying it as much as we are. So get in touch and let's see what we can do together.
Great. Thank you.
Thanks for taking your time, all.
Yeah. Thanks very much. And we look forward
thank you for the opportunity. Thank you.
You're very welcome.
Appreciate it.
Very welcome. We look forward to having you on the next one. Again,
we are in touch. Thank you very much.
Again, a final note from me. We do appreciate you taking the time out of your schedule. Hopefully it was worthwhile. If you do have any further questions, feel free to reach out to any of the presenters. They're all on LinkedIn and so forth. Or if needs be, reach out to myself, John Clifford, JCL at Gaudi.com. Look forward to seeing you on the next session and wishing everybody a great rest of your day.